Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video we're going to be working on the bug again, and by the end of the video the car is going to be drivable. Since the last video we just got the beam slung under the car and bolted back in. I also off camera got the whole inner fender well and everything all painted. We also got the King front shocks all in there. Again, big thank you to Down South Motorsports for getting these shocks. Once we got the shock in here, I got the reservoir mounts put on the reservoir and then lined everything up where I wanted it, marked it, and then ground everything down to bare metal. That way we can weld these reservoir mounts onto the inner fender, and that's what we're about to do. Typically on a Class 11 car, this reservoir mount would go somewhere on a tube inside of here, but since we don't have any cage work, we're just going to go to the inner fender well for now. But that's where we're currently at. We just got to get this thing welded on and then do the other side, and then the beam and shocks are all on the car. As you guys just saw in that montage, we've obviously gotten a lot more done than just getting the reservoirs tacked on there. The whole front of the car is starting to come back to life. Got the fenders on with the fresh seal on there, and then down below got the tie rods and everything on the beam. Whole brake system's reconnected. On the shock here, I did add this rubber hose on there just as a protective measure. Since the hose on the shock was rubbing against the shock tower, it would eventually just wear through. So to prevent that from happening, just wrapped it with some rubber hose. And then, as you guys know, we always like to wrap our hose clamps with heat shrink. Just cleans things up, makes it look all black rather than just seeing that hose clamp. So the front of this thing definitely looking a lot better than when we started. I also wanted to mention a few things that I didn't include in the last video when we were building the beam. There's two more things that people that are racing Class 11 like to do. One of those being converting from the lug bolts to actual studs. So I'd have to pull this rotor off, but you'd press in studs there, and that's just a stronger route to go. I'll probably end up doing that in the future, but just decided not to do that now. And then the other thing people like to do is on the steering box, they like to put shims in between the pitman arm and the steering box just to prevent that pitman arm from wiggling back and forth and keeping everything tight. But that's where things are currently at. We're just trying to crank on it and get the front all wrapped up. I do have to move on to the rear still. We did lift it, as you guys saw in the first video. However, we need to get everything painted like the front. So whoever owned this car last ended up putting this bed liner almost in there. So I got to scrape all that off with just a chisel, prep it with a sander, and paint it all. I also have to go in and do the brakes on the rear. The front, you guys saw, was already done. So I'm going to have to get this axle nut off there and get to all that. But that's the update. We'll get back into the montage. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that montage. I brought the car down here to Fiesta Island just to get some good shots of it. It has been done for a little bit and I have been driving it, but here she is in all her glory. Come down, kind of want to do a walk around real quick to show you guys everything that I've done so far. So if you guys remember when I first got the car, it did catch on fire, so I had a lot of work to do back here. The reason it caught on fire is because there's a fuel filter in this line with no hose clamps on it. I've rerouted that fuel filter to under the car, so I no longer have to worry about that ever happening again. Had to go through, rewire everything, so it's all fresh wiring back here, all looking really good. New coil, new carburetor, new distributor, plug wires, plugs, intake boots. Just went through everything and tried to get all new parts or clean everything up. And this thing runs absolutely perfect. As you guys saw as I started the car in this video, it's 2 pumps of the pedal, click it, and it fires right up every time. It runs perfect. One thing you guys probably also noticed as well is I got my custom plate. I ordered this thing right when I got the car and it took forever to come just because of everything that's going on in the world, but finally got a Wingsworld plate. That thing's pretty sweet. Christian and I built this exhaust as well. It's an empty header setup, and then we built everything from the flange back. So just ordered a stainless steel flange off of Amazon. The mufflers are off of Amazon as well. I'll just link those in the description if you guys are looking to get those. And then just built this all out of 2-inch pipe. So this thing sounds really good. Don't really hear a lot of other bugs sounding like this. It's a little bit more raspy, which I like. So really happy with the exhaust we did on it. Just painted it with gold exhaust paint for now. We'll see how long that lasts. We'll also just go through everything that we did in this video real quick. You guys obviously saw the beam get on there. Got the kings all mounted nice. You can see them up in there. One thing I will say about mounting the kings there is that I don't get a lot of steering angle out of the car. So what I'm going to do is probably relocate the reservoir to inside under the hood. That'll just make it so I can steer the thing all the way. So it looks good, but as far as function, we got some improvement to do. So I already picked up some new mounts and I'm going to do that off camera sometime. I also get asked quite a bit about this tire setup. So this is a BFG 215 75 R15. That's what I ran on my last car as well, and I got asked a bunch. So for those of you that are wondering, that's what tire I'm running. And then the rims as well, Anacoat powder, and Miramar did a super good job on them. They're a little dirty, but powder coat came out really nice. Thank you guys for handling that. I'm not sure how much I've shown of the interior on this car, but we'll check it out real quick. Right before I bought this thing, the last owner had everything redone. So brand new carpet, all the seats have been reupholstered. Headliner's not perfect, but it's in decent shape for how old this car is. So interior, always like to have a nice interior, so pumped I got this car how it is. So obviously you guys know what's done to the rear of this car. It's just a torsion lift for now to bring the ride height up and fit these tires. I do just have a KYB replacement shock in there right now. At some point down the line, I'd obviously like to put a King Kong adjuster in there and a legitimate shock just so this thing handles a lot better. But this is going to do for now, just in the current state of the car. And that's pretty much the car in its entirety. It's not anything super gnarly, it's just a simple clean setup just to go have fun. So this is how the car is going to stay for a while. Obviously I've been trying to progress it to become a Class 11 car. That's why I built the beam the way it is. This beam does ride pretty stiff on the street. If you're only going to be driving a car on the street, I would do something less than a 9/16 cut and turn. I'd go more around a quarter. That's what I did on my last car and that did really well. But like I said, I'm trying to progress this to be a Class 11 car. That's why I went that route. But that's going to do it for this video and this series for now. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next one.